Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Dear brothers and sisters, this is a continuation of the discussion that we started last time, which was about what was going on over the last 6 weeks, because of which we were not able to share as much information on podcasts, or we in fact like literally did not do any podcasts. That doesn't mean that there wasn't anything going on in the background. There was a lot going on in the background. So I'll list these things out in this podcast. And then in the next one, we're going to talk about some of these in a little more detail because as I was thinking about these, I just thought that each of these aspects have certain things that others might benefit from. Like, for example, why is it something done in a certain way, or how do you do certain things, or what are the key things to consider when you're doing xyz. So I thought that let's have that discussion separately. So first of all, there are I would say 6 or 7 things that happened over the past 6 months, or not 6 months, 6 weeks, alhamdulillah. So first was the Muharram planning. So as you know, Muharram involves a lot of planning, and this period of Muharram, and we're going to talk about this more, lasts not only 10 days, but for in some cases 40 days, in most of the cases 40 days, and in some cases, and like I would say many cases, 2 months and 8 days till the 9th of Rabiul Awwal. So planning goes a long way in doing that. I'll be honest, planning is nothing. This is a miraculous event that unfolds itself. The people who are responsible for planning is not us. They are the people whose remembrance is being conducted, and they plan for their own event themselves. We're going to talk about that more. The second one was travel to Hijaz. So like last year and the year before, alhamdulillah, I was able to travel to Medina and Makkah during the first 10 days of Muharram, and it is, as always, an unbelievable event that words cannot explain, but I'll try to explain it more in a separate discussion. Then there was this act then there was this uh, activity that I wasn't planning on doing, but when I went to Dr. Hatim's house for a majlis, there was a dialogue that happened between Dr. Hatim and a non-Shia Muslim who was asking Dr. Hatim about certain questions. So I was able to record the session, but it wasn't very clear. So I just got this idea, and thanks to Allah for giving me the idea to actually document the discussion. So there are like 14 different questions that were raised, and that was the book that I was working on in terms of the draft of the book. So that was the other thing that we were involved in. Then the topic number 4 was about giving a few speeches. So I was involved in giving a few speeches, Friday sermons, as well as some majalis at Zainabiyya. What is also happening is, because the actual majalis, the official majalis, are in Urdu, we've been doing an English lecture as well. So that has also kept me busy. Number 5 was about, so as I was in Hijaz and as I was reading the Maqtal myself, that's what I do. When I'm in Hijaz, I read the Maqtal myself. I read the Mercy, I read the Majalis myself. And I was able to go to a place on the 10th of Muharram and recite a Majlis because the official speaker did not show up. So I volunteered to do the Majlis. And after that, I had the feeling that I should do the majlis more often, just for myself, not for anyone else, in Urdu. And that's one thing that I've started. Regardless of like if someone is listening or not, I do a majlis. I try to do a majlis at least 3 or 4 times a week, and I upload it on YouTube in Urdu. It's a different channel. If someone is interested, I can share the link for that. And then there were like other things that we've been thinking about, like how can we help the youth, what is the best way of improving that, like what are the potential, what is the future that is of um, that, like, how do we groom the youth, how do we change the direction without following the traditional ways meaning like in-person training and other things, as compared to like what we are now used to after COVID. So those are certain things that we have been thinking about. Now these are the things that have been going on over the past 6 weeks. I would also say that in during that time, I've laid out like, I don't know, 6 7 different topics that we would like to talk about more as part of the podcast. So there will be more and more frequent podcasts, inshallah. Back Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So I would just request all of you for prayers, and we're gonna keep doing this. Assalamu alaikum.